Aloha, Hawaii. Good afternoon, Oklahoma City. Good afternoon, New York. And good evening to those of you that are having a nice, wonderful evening in Paris, France. And wakey time, South Korea and Australia. Time for you guys to get up real soon. Welcome in, guys, to the Hawk Report. This is episode number 7. And of course, we are on speed. Yes, this is the speed episode number 7. So of course, how can you not go ahead and use the classic 1994 movie Speed in this episode here? Yes. As you notice here, we gotta zoom in a little bit. Don't know if you can see it, but look who drives the bus. And it looks like he's having a lot of fun driving the bus there. Yes. So Sandra Bullock, eat your heart out, because Kidneys is at the wheel. So welcome in. Thank you to Dish for raiding over from the wonderful presentation of the speed cards today. No pictures, but we definitely have a lot to go through today. It's almost like an hour time change with the starting a little bit hour because of Dish's work obligations. It throws you out of a little bit of a rhythm, like when you have to change the clocks. I'm used to that twice a year. I prefer when we have to change our clocks back. But yes, if you're new to the channel, the Hawk Report with myself and Your Kidneys, we present to you the new cards. We look back at the weeks that were. Kidneys does his wonderful rant. And we have the Generation Showdown with a little bit of a rule revision today. We've changed the rules a little bit. Same kind of format, but just a little bit more baseball appropriate. So we would do that at the end of the episode. But of course, got to shout out the company that we are promoting here that we love to get involved with and play the game of, and that is OOTP Developments. Get out of the park baseball, get Franchise Hockey Manager, go to the website. You can get the Go version on Google Play, on the Apple Store, and of course, join the forum. If you're not on the Discord, get on the forum, because that is where you find out all the great tips and hints and new releases, and such a great community on the Discord. You can also check in on the OOTP forms on the page itself. So you simply go to the forum section. We'll put that into the link there. And lots of information that you can check out there. And as I said, if you don't have Go, you are missing out, because this saves you a lot of time. And it saves you from being on your laptop or on your computer. You can play your perfect team. You can play historical, fictional leagues right on your device, on your phone, on your iPad, simply with OOTP Go. So go check it out, download it. It's free to download, and you can even create an extra perfect team with your Go account. So you can have 3 with your license for your laptop, and then you can have 1 with OOTP Go. Of course, Dish announced the live. I know a lot of you users have been waiting for the live to go non-beta. Well, Monday, Dish announced it will go live. So get your lineups in Sunday night. Check who your starting pitchers are. Earn your perfect points. I probably won't get involved with the live right away. Sometimes you got to pick and choose. And that's what's great about this game. This open world game where more and more is added every version. And I don't have enough time in the day to try everything. So rather than be, mediocre at everything, I'd rather be above average at some things. So I don't think I'll be playing PT Live, because it does take research. It takes some time to go through, and I'm going to focus more on the perfect team. But for those of you that do love that value of picking professional real life players and earning points, great way to do it. You can see all the points attributed here, at least as part of the beta. Not sure if it's going to change in the real version on Monday, but this is what we've been running in the beta. So yes, giveaway at the end of today's show. We will give away again our 15 packs, free packs, 10 for one user, 5 for another user. So stay tuned for that. You can enter that at the end of today's show depending how long we go. Who knows? We have so much content to talk about. So I want to get right on with it here, guys. Let's bring in the co-host of the Hawk Report. You know him. Hopefully you love him. Your Kidneys is in the house. How are you doing, kid?
Pretty well. Fun cards. There's a lot of really interesting ones today, which I enjoy. That's why I'm here. I don't know, excited to talk about it. We got some really big cards. There's some huge tournament changes coming in a few days that's going to change the entire metagame. PT Live's coming along with it. A bunch of other really, really cool things happening in the out of the park sphere right now. So excited.
All right. Well, hey, I've got so many questions for you with today's set and with everything coming up. Monday is a big day, for many reasons with Perfect Team. And plus, we'll take a look back at some things that have happened since we met last. So not going to do a big icebreaker today with quizzing each other because we just have so much to talk about. But I do want to remind people that are tuning in for the first time, and you may be asking, who is that bearded guy with lap? Well, that bearded young gentleman is very famous on Discord. So you might want to go check out his Discord where you can get some, almost like a cheat sheet. Remember in school where you always kind of had a cheat sheet nearby for that last minute study? Well, go check out Your Kidneys on his Twitch channel. And I think this Discord link should work. If you're not there yet, then go check out his Discord. And yeah, I heard he is really big in France. He's brushing up on his French. Bonjour, mes amis. Comment ça va? Ça va bien? Merci beaucoup. So brushing up on that French language. So very popular amongst the French citizens. So yes, Your Kidneys is from that generation Zoomer and more of the modern day, born in the early 2000s. I'm from the late 60s, early 70s and 80s. So I'm part of that Gen X, and where Kidneys grew up with Speed in terms of the movie Cars. Yeah, the movie Cars. I'm sure he was a young kid and he just loved Mater and Steve McQueen or Lightning McQueen or whatever his name was.
Lightning McQueen.
Lightning McQueen. Well, after we gotta admit it was probably after the movie Bullet. I'm a Gen Xer. I know that movie with Steve McQueen, with the best car chase scene in movie history. No doubt about it. Steve McQueen's Bullet, best car chase scene. And I'm thinking that's the ode to him from this movie here. So yes, Mr. Kidneys from the modern generation, the Zoomer, I from the Gen X Zoomer. So I have to ask, because of our movie poster, have you seen the original movie Speed from 1994?
Nope. Not at all, unless it's one of those things where Dad watched it and I had it, I don't know, in the background somewhere. I don't know. Dad, do you ever watch Speed? Maybe.
Keanu Reeves?
No. All right, but I'll get you here. Did you ever watch not the first one, but the second Cars movie?
Was that the one where Mater had a girlfriend?
No girlfriend. I don't think he had a girlfriend in that one. It's the one where Mater ends up working with was an MI6 and saves the world. And there's like murder and death, and they kill cars, and there's a great evil conspiracy by the oil companies. One of the greatest movies ever made. Cars 2, incredible. Don't show it to your kids; it'll probably traumatize them. Also, you mentioned I make a cheat sheet. Isn't that like the anti-you? You're a teacher. You not like me because I have a cheat sheet?
Yeah, I'm retired now, though. So, okay. There's that gray line from when you're teaching and when you're not teaching. And I call it an educational aid now. That's what I call it. Not a cheat sheet. Cheat sheet's too negative.
I mean, what matters is you know the answer, right? As long as you can remember the answer.
That's right. And how many of us crammed before a test, the night before and that morning, and even sitting down at our desk, and we crammed because we want to shove all this into our memory, and hopefully we get a question on it. And then after the test, you go, wait a minute, that wasn't even on the test. I wasted all that time memorizing it. Yeah, memory. A lot of education is memory. All right, kidneys. Our first segment that we always go through after that little icebreaker is the beginner's guide. Now, before we get to our main part of this, which is going to be analyzing the card shop and how beginners can effectively use it, did you play the base game quite a bit before Perfect Team?
Yes, I started playing Out of the Park 17, and I played it. I don't want to know how many hours I played it for. I don't think I had it on Steam right away, and I played a ton of the base game. I've played the base game a huge amount, all the way up to this year. I will say my little tiny gripe with the base game this year is I can't see P home run versus P BABIP, and it drives me crazy. So I don't know what pitchers actually do, and I don't want to play it anymore. But other than that, the base game, I must have thousands of hours in it. It's a great,
Okay,
great
so
passion of mine.
most of the time, in fact, all of the time, we analyze perfect cards. We analyze players and perfect cards. So I want to give you here's a retro analysis that you can do. Let's take a look at kind of a base game player. And I want you to give me your interpretation of how you think this player would do in the base game. So here we have a 21-year-old that, has these kind of attributes. He recently played in 2027 with a 286 average, 40 stolen bases in his minor league debut. He's played about 52 games. How would you analyze the future going forward of this player?
An interesting one. He's very much almost there, and I'm not quite sure he gets to a spot where I'd really want him on a team. The thing with Glenn the Hound is he's 21. He's got probably 2 more years in the tank of the minors before he's ready, maybe a year and a half or so. The defense is just kind of at a weird in-between point where I'm not quite sure he's second base ready. And the bat, I'm looking at it, I'm like, is he quite a third baseman either? I don't know. He's really would depend on the quality of team. I like he has high work ethic. That'll help him develop a little bit. I'm not sure, a 14 contact, 13i, 15K guy is going to be a huge deal at the end of it. But
all right, well, let me help you out. You're not saying he's a bust. At least you're saying that.
No, not at all.
And this player has a chance to develop. He has a chance to add to his potential and his current ratings. If you were a manager of this player, where would you recommend that this player to be a really good major leaguer put his future points? Where does he need to improve the most on, or what should he build on or even make better if he were to add more, potential points in some of these batting areas or fielding areas?
Purely hypothetical, of course, not
of course, very hypothetical.
MLB player or anything at all, right?
No, not at all. This is just a random player.
Random player. No, you should put all your points into infield range because your bat has a long way to go before I'd consider you a third baseman. And I think if that bat at second base with 17, 18 range is probably really good. So that would be what I would do is I would turn yourself into a second baseman. And I think that would be really, really good. If you wanted to be more of a hitter, you're going to need a lot of contact to be a contact hitter because your Ks and your power are so high. The BABIP number is actually probably pretty low. Looking at how base game works. You could just go into power too. You could just say, I'm going to put all my points in power, but I would certainly put points in infield range and train at second base would be how I would handle this player.
That sounds very interesting. I mean, maybe those that, that are playing the base game and looking deep into their system, might want to take that advice. And do you think that, the potential to develop based on his personality absolutely must be there, right? These are pretty good characteristics for personality.
It's work ethic, from what I understand, is he'll develop a little faster, I think, and more consistently. The best personality, in my opinion, would be I really like intelligence. Because if I remember correctly, intelligence is the ability to randomly get better. It's the TCR, right? Uh, I'm a big fan of really really smart people that because TCRing is so powerful, right? Where you can just gain a whole bunch of ratings somewhere randomly, but intelligence makes the randomly happen more often. So, but work ethic and leadership are like probably the next best two, right? I don't really care about greed or loyalty. Work ethic and leadership are really good. So no, I mean, if this player gains some infield range, I think he's an excellent second baseman.
All right. Well, thanks. Because we like to help the beginners out there, and sometimes we got to look back at that base game in play, and not just at perfect league cards, because not everyone plays perfect league kidneys. But I would just like to say that I think that the analysis of that player is probably dead on, and go Expos. That's all I have to say about that.
Did you get your draft hat last year after you were signed? Did they hand you a hat, one of the 32 hats or whatever?
Well, it was FedEx to me overnight, because I'm not sure if you're aware, but the EMLB, the wonderful online league, one of the many wonderful online leagues, did their first and second rounds last night. And this player here that you analyzed, first overall, baby. First overall.
Were you? Interesting. I didn't realize that. I was looking at the draft board yesterday. Shout out to the EMLB and all that. There's such a great show. Everybody who works there, and especially the commish, puts on. I was looking at that draft board, and I was a little wondering why some of the people went certain places, but it is a different league than I'm used to. But yeah, certainly a lot of second base potential there. A lot of second base potential. So.
All right. Yes. Well, when I think of speed, I think of 80s Oakland A's and 80s Montreal Expos. But because I am now a Montreal Expo, it's Montreal Expos. Here we go. And of course, I still got to support the Toronto Blue Jays. Okay. Well, we have to get on to the next segment, and this is where we look back, things that that happened over the last week that we didn't talk about in our previous show. And I think the big one is what is coming. And first of all, big, huge congratulations to the winners of the wonderful, wonderful Carl Yastrzemski card. I'm sure that is a card that is doing well on those teams that have won it. There are only 10 of them, I believe, that exist. And congratulations. It doesn't look like anyone won 2, which is good. Spread Carl around a little bit. And I don't know about you, Kidneys, but I placed between, I think it was 9 and 16. So I got one of those John Smoltz cards. How about yourself? Did you happen to bank any of the cards this week or last week?
You did better than I did then. I got 2 32s. Overall, I think my teams are really good. I don't really think there was anything I would change going back, because that's always something, right? Like, tournaments like this are very different than what you play in a lot of the time. And you certainly, when you don't make it, you got to go look back. Even if you do make it, you should go look back and be, what would I change? I don't really think I would have changed anything. I do want to shout out some of my boys, because we took home 3 Carl Yastrzemskis and 4 Cal Ripkins. So shout out to all you guys. You guys are excellent at the game, a lot better than I am. And shout out to Aster specifically, who got 2 Cal Ripkins and a 4th place. Aster is probably the best tournament player in the game. He's just so unlucky. It drives me crazy. I hope he finally gets to win one on his main someday. It's criminal he hasn't yet.
Yes, Aster 31, one of the architects of the famous tournament sheet that, goes around Discord quite a bit of, the different eras and how many pitchers that you need and relief pitchers. Aster 31. And there are a lot of great analyzers in the game, but he definitely is one that we see consistently at the top of the leaderboards. So congratulations again to all the winners. Now, the other side of that is Monday, as Dish announced, as OOTP has announced, we are getting some changes. There are changes incoming, which apparently will not affect your league play, but will have an impact on your tournament play. So the announcement was made on the OOTP forums yesterday, I believe, or the day before, and Dish brought it up again today about the changes that are coming. And who best to ask about the influence of these changes and potentially what could be coming, but none other than YourKidneys. So YourKidneys, the floor is yours. What do you think we're going to see starting Monday?
Look at your league team and what's happening there. And then look at like the people who are doing really well in league. I mean, it's the goal of the change is to bring tournaments much more in line with league, because there's been some issues with BABIP. It's very low. It's probably at a minimum 20 points lower than it should be in modern tournaments. And defense is going to be very important. It was already still probably a lot more important than most people were weighing into it. Stop cutting corners with defense, especially second short center catcher, right? Just stop doing it. You're going to start getting burned really bad on Monday, most likely. I'll be interesting. They haven't said if K or home run are going up or down. Everybody's assuming home runs going down a bit. People are very hotly debating if K rates are going up or down because they are a little high. So they could go down, but then if they go, like, if you make people strike out more, you'd also remove some of the power of the incoming BABIP. So it's kind of an interesting dilemma. I'm not really sure where it'll come into play there. But I do think everything you've done for the past month and a half, you need to throw it out the window. It doesn't matter anymore. All the cards you thought were good, it's all going to change, right? So go on to Monday, almost like we're just starting over from scratch, play a lot more defense, and now you can play BABIP hitters, right? And they'll be good too. So.
And I know, Kidneys, that you have always kind of promoted that, one of the best tournaments for new players to play are those bronze tournaments, the quick tournaments, because they roll over a lot quicker. So what you're saying is that the lineups that you have built for those bronze tournaments and might have found some success with, likely they're going to completely go through an overhaul starting on Monday.
Yeah. No, I mean, it should not be comparable, right? At all. Because I think at the least we'll see BABIP slide up 20 points, which is just such a massive change, right? That I would very highly expect anybody has to not be a good team come Monday if it was a good team already, right? So that's what I would say.
All right. So, and here's a question for you. How long after the new patch or release or changes do you think it will take to kind of identify what it's going to take to build successful tournament teams? Is it going to take a week, 2 weeks, 3 days? What is kind of that window where guys like yourself can kind of determine what works best?
To really have it exact, it'll take me a week. I would say 2-3 days in. Hopefully by the next time we're doing this show, I'll probably have a good enough grasp on it to be able to estimate who's good, who's bad, kind of roughly what it looks like. There will be players who can do it far faster than I can. If anybody watched my stream with Chimera last night, you would understand why. It's exciting that everything's going to change. And, don't just go into a tournament and look at one stats. Pull some data, right? Make some bigger numbers. You need a lot of data in baseball to figure out who's good and who's bad. So.
All right. Well, there you go, beginners. If you've built off a bronze team or an iron team, you're going to have to kind of, re-examine that starting on Monday. And again, go to Kidney server, go to, the Discord channel. There's a lot of places where you can get help and build up a team for those changes. So we went through kind of the tournament changes for beginners. We looked at a random base game player and analyzed that. Let's talk about the card shop and how new players to the game that have just been playing for maybe a week or 2 weeks or a month, the card shop can be intimidating because sometimes you see prices on there and you go, whoa, I can earn that much for selling this card, or whoa, that card is so high priced. How can people afford that? give the new users, the beginners, kind of a 101 on using the card shop, both buying and selling.
Yeah, I think the biggest place where people need to learn to like save money, stop clicking buy now on like basically anything ever, unless you need it immediately. And there are very few scenarios where you need a card immediately. Like you can see this Cy Young. I mean, this is like it's at P10, right? And a lot of people would go, that means it's fairly priced. But here's what I see. I see there's a huge hole between this buy order and the P10 and the buy order and the sell order. And I could probably put up an order for like 90K or something and get this card, right? You wouldn't think it's that consistent. And most of the time is. I mean, you'll learn if a card is really high demand. Sometimes you do have to pay sticker price, but like you should always shoot lower and then come up if you can. Same thing with sell orders. I mean, I know a lot of people consider it bad business to really overshoot on a sell order, but like, if you see that there's no sell orders for this card, and it's a high demand card and there is a decent buy order on it, put it up for more, right? Like just don't shortchange yourself on all these little margins and you'll end up making a lot more money over the course of the season. So I think that would be like my most important thing.
And just to go back to what we were talking about before, I just saw this question now, but I think, for a month and a half now, we've been looking at Power and I. Simple answer to that is yes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be as important, right? Because what happens, and I was talking about this with you a little bit before the stream too, right? This BABIP number, you get to this more often if this avoid K number is higher, right? So avoid K enables BABIP. And then this gap number is also a boost to this BABIP number, right? And so if this number is bad, right? If this BABIP number is bad, then it means the K number doesn't really matter and the gap number doesn't really matter. And then stealing's not as important. And then defense isn't as important because you're not blocking, balls in play from being hit. So, now that BABIP's coming back to closer to like real baseball, everything's going to matter again. Right. The reason why Power and I were so important is it was pretty much the most efficient way to score runs, and just because of where we were, it wasn't worth investing in any of the other ratings. So it's really more what it's about.
All right. So anything else about the card shop that you wanted to cover?
Not really. I will say like the real big deal as well, as kind of as Adolfo brings up, is this P10 number is really bad. The more expensive a card is and the rarer a card is, the less it sells. I mean, this P10 number on some of these cards, like maybe this card is sold 3 times and it happened a month ago. Like it's not super indicative of what a card's actual value is. And I just in general will tell people to stop valuing cards so heavily by their P10. And like, if somebody will pay more money for a card, and that's what a card's worth, right? And if you only think a card is worth so much, then don't overpay just because the P10 is higher, right? That's about it.
Yeah, and I think you brought up some good points. I never, use the buy it now, as you said. I heed by that advice, and I'll put in, a fair buy order, maybe, 10, 15% lower than level 10, or if it's a card I really need quicker, then I'll put it in a buy order around level 10, maybe even a little higher if I really want it. And we always don't know the motives, right, Kidney, of why people want that card. It could be league play, it could be tournament play, it could be for your theme team. There's many reasons why people want to buy the cards. Maybe it's their favorite player and they just want to have that card in their collection. So we can't always assume that it's just to win perfect league.
Well, and I think a great example of this, so you're saying like you'll do 10%, shoot lower. When this card was like 110K or whatever, and it was the best catcher in the game by a mile, one of my friends got a 40K buy order filled. You have no idea why somebody filled that 40K buy order, but it was like a massive benefit to a player who doesn't really spend money on the game, who now has probably what was the best catcher at the game at the time, right? And don't be like afraid to put up a low buy order. Like as long as you're the top buy order, or even sometimes if you're not, somebody will fill one and somebody will fill the next one. And you don't really have to know why or for it to be reasonable. That person's making the choice to sell you the card, right? So All's fair in that, I think.
Yeah, I think when Napoli came out just shortly after, I put in a buy order of about 66,000, and within maybe 3 or 4 days, I got it. Same with Mike Adams. I put a buy order in of about 70,000, somewhere around there, and within a couple days, I got that one too. So I think if you're reasonable, like, yeah, 10, 15, 20, 25%, what are you willing to pay? What is kind of your max? And if you don't get it, you don't get it. Well,
Exactly.
try again at some point.
Yeah, and there's another thing sort of related to the market I was going to talk about, and then I realized I didn't have a rant topic, and that makes an excellent rant topic for later. So we'll come back to that.
Okay, so we're ready to move away from the card shop.
Yeah, absolutely. We can.
Okay.
Well, unless you want me to just pull up cards from today here, we can do it either way.
Yeah, we're going to get on to the cards that before we get to the cards from today. So many limited edition cards have been released over the last week since we last met. Lots of them. And one thing I learned from Dish, which I guess is kind of obvious, but I never thought about it, is limited editions tend to be either out of 100 or out of 25. And Dish informed me on a stream that if it's got the black border around it, that's a 25 card. A white border this year is going to be out of 100. So kind of a quick eye test. If you see this white background, there's 100 of them. If you see the black background, it is 25. So yeah, kind of cool. Thanks for that tip, Dish. So we did get the Bobby Bonds late last week, I believe. We got the Grover Cleveland Alexander, the Bill Terry, the Chase Utley, and then, of course, today we got one as well. We got the Dwight Evans. So I don't know if you want to talk about all of them.
Yeah, we got pretty quick. We also got Joaquin Soria. There was another one in there too. I think we've had 4 perfect hundreds in 4 days now. I was joking with some people. Maybe instead of Platinum Series this year, we'll just do an LE a day, and they'll just run out with not a 2-month period. But yeah,
it's great. I mean, if you're fans of these players, fans of the team, gives you that chance to open them up. And Dish kind of showed us earlier how many have been pulled so far. So there still are quite a few of most of these available. But yeah, go ahead, start with it, whichever one you want, and bring up your screen, and let's talk about these LEs.
Yeah, so Bobby Bonds, I picked this one up. I'm not entirely sure. I have this card being pretty good right now, and I think it gets a bit better after Monday, because it's got a bit of BABIP on it, and it's got above average defense probably. So yeah, I like this one. I don't think it's like a mile better than all the other cards, but it was just one that I sort of thought I would pick up for cheap because I could. I could keep going through. I think the next one was Grover, right? Because he came out just before the BTC.
I really absolutely love this card. I think of all the LEs so far, if I got to pick one, it would be the Grover card. Absolutely love it. I'm curious on your take. I'm sure same thing.
Yeah, I mean, all this card says is it says, "Hi, I'm a second copy of Addy Joss." And it turns out being one of 25 people allowed to play a second copy of Addy Joss is really good. It's really, really good. So it's very similar. I think it's a slightly better card than Addy Joss, but they're very comparable. I mean, obviously it's probably a top 3 starter in the game right now, and you certainly want this if you're playing really big tournaments or planning on trying and making perfect league, winning diamond this week. So yeah. Next one was, I think, Joaquin.
Terry.
Oh, it was Terry next. I will note just one thing about this. Somebody pointed out that he looks like somebody put their drink on the coffee table, and I have not unseen it since. This one, definitely not as good as Grover. The problem with this card is it's not really that bad versus righties in the new environment in the league play. The problem with this card is it's just... Will Clark is like the exact same card, but you trade like 5 or like it's like 10 points of BABIP for 5 points of power and like 25 points of I or something, and it's kind of a no-brainer. So Will Clark's just a much better version of this card. Yeah, it was you, Jonathan. If that's what you're looking for, I would just recommend Will Clark over this card. Nothing really that special here for this one. Soria surprised me. It's one of those cards where like the colors on it are a little bit deceptive, and I just punched it into the model, and it's like, yeah, this card's like kind of between Grover and Joss, and I'm like, really? And then I looked again at it. I'm like, yeah, I can see it. So the problem, obviously, with not the problem, but it's a reliever, right? So it has a bit more of a limited value because you can only really play it in a non-capper and league, right? And it's not going to throw as many innings, but it is going to be an excellent card when you do get it on the field, right? So one of the best cards in the game as a reliever. And then yesterday we had the Chase update.
Before you go on to the next one, would you rank him? Does your rankings have him above Mike Adams, above Joe Barry?
No, I have Adams and Barry still being quite a lot better, but Adams and Barry are just running away compared to every other card in the game. It's not really that close. Like, this card is, like, Adams and Barry are a tier of their own, and then this card is up there with, like, Joss, Feller, Grover, like, all the other best cards, I think, would be kind of how I would rank them. I also want to point out, this is not the best year he had as a pitcher. His 2008 looked a lot better than what this card has. And if we get another one, I'd be very scared to see an 08. It would basically be the same card with like 115, 120 pitcher BABIP, and that terrifies me. So maybe that's a cool endgame card. Next is the Utley. I'm really sad this isn't a limited edition /12. If you know why, you know why. If you don't, that's fine. Don't look it up. I want to like this card because the bat on it's really pretty. The problem is the glove on it is just not going to be good enough after Monday, right? And I will just highly probably prefer to play Jackie Robinson over this card. And it's, obviously the bat's a bit better on this than Robinson versus righties, but Robinson steals a lot more and the glove is not comparable, right? It's with like 28 points of range and some other stuff, so... not huge on this one. And then today we got the Dwight Evans. A really interesting card. It's kind of like the Gary Sheffield third baseman, but it has I rating on it, right? Like it has a ton more I rating. And if I just hold on, I have it open here. I just hadn't taken a peek yet. Yeah, I mean, this card is excellent. Of course, you don't really need me to tell you that. He's one of the top options in right field, no question about it. So, obviously, as time goes on, he's more of a weak side platoon. But like, if you're trying to win perfectly, I can't see how this card isn't on the top of your list somewhere, right?
All right. Well,
so,
and
it's very good.
If you had to rank them in terms of for yourself, I mean, everyone has different needs on their team right now, but for yourself, if you could pull any one of these limited editions for long-term usability, which one do you think it would be?
If I had to pick one card I would have for like a long time out of all these LEs, I'd have to go with Grover. Starting pitchers normally have a very long shelf life, right? So I think that's kind of the no-brainer for me. Like if I had to say, hey, give me one of these cards, and I can't sell it or anything, certainly I would pick the Grover for sure. So.
All right. Well, there is your LEs, and I think that's the most we've had in a 1 week period that I can remember, especially with the hundreds. Usually we see a lot more of the, silvers and golds LEs, but we've seen a lot of perfect LEs this year so far. And you can still get them in packs, with Grover being the highest one at 14, and maybe even some have been pulled since then. Well, today's theme, Kidneys, was all about speed. And I think as a beginner or an intermediate player, myself, we kind of look at speed cards and go, are they really useful in the perfect leagues? Yes, they can be useful maybe in, niche tournaments, but because they're so heavy on speed, usually their hitting is not the greatest. And going to be interesting walking through these with you. So let's start with the one iron that was introduced today. If you play iron tournaments, Kidneys, is this one that you want to? And by the way, just to kind of qualify this, Kidneys is going to analyze these. We talked about this before, based on how he thinks the game is going to change on Monday, because it's no use kind of looking at how the game plays today and then in 3 days it's gone, but how it probably will evolve starting on Monday. So let's start with the Cabrera card.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you like very exactly where I would have most of these things right now, but like if I'm throwing it out the door Monday, that doesn't make for a fun show now, does it? My early look at this card is it's excellent. I may be forgetting somebody, but off the top of my head, this is like probably by far your new second baseman in Iron VR. He's going to actually steal. The bat is going to be awesome, and 90 range as well. Switch hitter. I mean, obviously you probably want to platoon him, but in general, it'd be really good. Also, a card I'm going to look at in a lot of cap tournaments because he's only 6 points, backs up all the more premium infield positions. And again, can pinch run too. So very, very excited. This might be personally just my favorite card of the set because I know I'm going to get a lot of use out of this one, which is great. So. Yes.
And again, those Iron tournaments going to be in huge demand for that. So great Iron card. Often we don't get, a good look and give a lot of appreciation to those lower level cards, especially in Iron. So this is sounds like a must-have for you tournament players. Next, we move on. Yeah.
I'll just say quickly, I know there's been a lot of back and forth over the years, like people don't like some of the lower tier cards on the stream, like as featured. I think it's great. I know it's like a little unfortunate if like an Iron card comes out, nobody's going to play it like to show it off, but I think a lot of the time getting new options that are really fun like this Everett Cabrera is totally worth it. I love seeing these cards back on stream again. So
completely agree, 100%. I love seeing some of those low cards on stream. All right, into the bronze level. So we have, which would qualify for a low bronze tournament or bronze tournaments. Bob Dillinger, third baseman. What do you think?
I don't know. The bat maybe is a bit better than I think, just because of how I've been looking at things. But in general, it doesn't blow me away, and it's not hitting home runs. And then can't steal with it at all, right? Because when speed is that much higher than stealing, he's going to be too aggressive. I know I think this year he was like 20 and 14, like stolen base to caught stealing or something like that. So little funny, but certainly don't steal with him. And then the glove is really bad, and I'm not huge on third base glove, but it is going to be a lot more important with the update, right? So probably not one I will try playing, I think.
And Kidneys, if you don't mind, because there's some newer viewers here, newer users here again, you talked about don't steal with this card. And I think one of the common mistakes is when we look at a card and we see that 93 speed, we crank up the stealing slider because we think that this player is going to steal a lot of bases. Maybe just quickly again summarize what you're looking for high steal guys in the game.
So speed has a bunch of uses, but the main one, at least the most important one in my opinion, is stolen base aggressiveness. It's not really like, how successful, like how fast the player it is. It is to an extent, but it's more in the terms of stolen bases, like how often are they going to try and steal? And so when the stealing rating, which is more of how successful are they at stealing, is lower than the speed rating, especially by about 19 points, you're going to have a scenario where this guy, like he did in real life, tries to run a lot, gets thrown out a ton, and you're just throwing away a lot of value that way.
So your optimal kind of numbers, give us kind of an example of what we would look for in numbers for a guy you would crank up, obviously all blue, like all right to the very edge, but kind of what are we looking for in terms of numbers?
There was a Goldilocks zone in like 22 of like if you were 10 points more stealing than speed, you were like perfect. I don't really think it's that exact this year. At least how it was last year. I haven't really tried it too much this year. If you were over 100 speed actually became a good thing. Like you were just so good at it, it was beneficial as long as your stealing was also up there. So I'm like unsure because I think Jackie was like 97 speed, 117 stealing. Sometimes I feel like he doesn't go enough, and then other times I feel like he's still not successful, and maybe I just don't have it dialed in this year yet. But I'm not sure. In general, just you want stealing to be a little bit higher than speed on a lot of these cards, unless both numbers are just so high it doesn't really matter, right?
Excellent. Okay. And Mr. Devil Dog, congratulations. Mr. Devil Dog in the chat here has been pulling card after card. Pulled the Mike Adams a few minutes ago, and pulled, speaking of speed, just pulled the Billy Hamilton. And I really like this card. I'm thinking you do too.
One last note, because this is also excellent. Speed is never really a bad thing, right? Because just turn off your stealing slider and then stop doing like the Pikachu shocked face when your guys get thrown out when they shouldn't have been stealing in the first place, right? So it's actually really beneficial for a lot of other things it does, and like just properly manage your slider, turn it off globally, turn it on the players you actually want to run, and it's a huge benefit, right? So yeah, just that as well. I don't know if you meant this Billy or the bigger Billy, because we have both Billies in the set, of course.
Right.
I really like this card. I'm a little waffling a little bit now. I think Bronze center field after Monday is this card, or it's Fielder Jones. I'm a little bit unsure. Like Fielder Jones, Fielder Jones' bat has to be better enough by the margin that the stealing you get out of Billy isn't worth it. I'd probably go with Billy first, just eye testing it. I love B-Ham, one of my favorite players I watched growing up. So they gave him the defense and the speed he deserves, and I think this will probably be a meta bronze card in center. Like, so Dukes, then, like, Jimmy Wynn is still excellent, but like as a left fielder, right? Because with the new change, we're probably going to see defense be a lot more important again. So.
All right, so you'd have no problem running him, Billy Hamilton, in center field on your bronze teams.
Oh, I think you should go out of your way to do it. In fact, it'll be excellent. Yes.
All right. And Mr. Devil Dog mentioned that he got the higher leveled Billy Hamilton. So even better. Congratulations, Mr. Devil Dog. That's two really good pulls. And I see a lot of people mentioning that they pulled cards from today's set. So Kidneys, that bodes well for us when we have our little contest. Maybe we're going to get some of these cards here. Well, before we move on to our silver, gold, diamond, and perfect card from today, we are up on our break here, guys. We will be back with more card analysis, with the kidney rant, with the generation showdown. Lots more to come, guys. Stay tuned. Go fill your beverage up. Go to the washroom. Go hug your cat. We'll be back in 3 minutes. All right, welcome back in. Thank you guys again for tuning in. If you're just joining, this is the Hawk Report. Got started a little bit late after the TWIP report today, which was about an hour behind, but we are here, and we are here to give analysis on today's card and have a little more fun as well. But before we get back to the card analysis on Speed Week, big shout out, big thank you to, again, all of you that have been following, all you that have been subscribing. Thank you, Alex, for the bits. Thank you, Kidneys and Sean Saul. And I missed another one with the subscribers. I'll do a more proper shout out on Monday. My Thursday show, just so much going on and so many windows and so many tabs that sometimes I don't get a chance to look at the chat, but I will shout you guys out a lot more on Monday. So thank you so much. Go check out YourKidnies. I posted his Twitch channel, I posted his Discord channel, and he did a live update spreadsheet at the beginning of May. Go check out how those live cards have changed, and think about speculation coming into the beginning of June. All right, Kidneys, let's go back to the silver cards now and take a look at those quickly. I don't know if there's anyone you want to focus on particular, but we'll kind of run through them all quickly, starting with Otis Nixon.
Yeah, I mean, this is where things are going to get a little progressively harder for me, right? As things go on and we get to these more contact-heavy bats with no power, right? 2 power is about as low as you get. And I like this card for like a very specific reason. I think in Silver Floor, this is just a must play, right? It's free. It's pinch runner. It plays great corner outfield defense, and the bat is solid. I mean, probably for a free card, right? At that level, I'm probably a little unconvinced that this is something you'd go play in a silver tournament, but maybe the glove is enough to carry kind of the weaker sided bat. So yeah.
And maybe just kind of, because you mentioned a couple of times, and from that, again, I always like to look from that new set of eyes. You mentioned free player, and there may be people out there. What do you mean it's free? I get this card for free. What are you referring to when you say a free player, free card?
Yeah, so when I refer to this card's use case, right, Silver Floor. So in cap tournaments, there are different floors, right? If they don't specify, the floor is just iron, but what it means is 40 overall cards don't count towards the cap, because effectively you've already spent 40 times 26 on your team just by not rostering players. And so in a silver floor, the free tier, right, is 70 overall. So then if you put a 71 in, it costs 1 additional point, and so on and so forth, right? So in a silver floor, all this card costs is a roster spot, not any points, and certainly he's very good in there. So
okay, yeah, so there you go. So 70 kind of being that 0 mark, and then as you go up, this card would count 5 against your cap because it's a 75. So thank you for that. And Stinkins and Real Teddy-O, you were the other two that I missed earlier on. So thank you so much for subscribing. Glad you enjoy the content, and big shout out again. Go follow Kidneys. Go give him some love on his channel. Before we get to this card here, Kidneys did a wonderful, I don't know how long it went last night, at least maybe 2 hours interview. And
it was almost 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, and who did you interview last night on your channel?
I interviewed Chimera. Not everybody may know that name, but if you're one of the kind of the modelers or like the big data people, you should know that name. We went over, how he got into data science, because that's his job, and how he found out of the park and the online league he runs. But he also showed off his model, which is a Jupyter notebook he's programmed over the past few months, and how he can rebuild perfect team in the base game, run an infinite number of sims, and then come back telling you what cards are the best by doing what I do, except he's regenerating the data for what I do. So he can get a lot more of it at a far faster clip. I'll probably have that up on YouTube later today, or you can just check it out on my Twitch channel. But they'll probably have ads, so maybe wait for the YouTube one. Either way, yeah, shout out to Chimera for coming on. He's one of the best players in the game, and looking at, it's rare somebody lets you see into this thing they've created that makes them a competitive player, right? Because they could be throwing away their edge, and the stuff he showed is just revolutionary compared to how a lot of people have approached the game over the years. So I think it was super fascinating. If you're a data nerd like me, go check it out. You'll probably have a good time. So,
and that's why I love shouting out Your Kidneys channel, because although, he doesn't always advertise far in advance when he is streaming, he's a very humble guy, and, he loves to interview. I noticed that characteristic about his personality. He likes to sit back and ask questions and find out more about the player that plays these games. And he's done a few interviews now on his channel. Dishnet was a recent one as well that he interviewed. Great interview. Kidneys is the guy that if we ever do have an OOTP convention, he'll be off in a corner with a microphone asking people to come over and ask questions too. That's just the type of guy. Great interviewer. So good job last night, Kidneys, and look forward to more in the future. So check those out on his channel. It should be up there. All right, let's get on to the Raji card and a little bit about his potential impact in the game.
Yeah, I mean, very splitty. I mean, very obviously very splitty. The only thing that looks that close is Avoid K, and he's got one of the best, I think, base stealing splits of the cards today, where he's, we talked about, before, once you're kind of over that 100 speed mark last year, every point was really important, and he's 102, 105. That's kind of crazy, and his left field defense will be solid at 81 range, and I just don't know, right? Like, this is one of those things. It's going to be really hard to evaluate pre-data Monday. My gut feeling is this is probably a really good card if you have room to play him only against lefties in left field. That would be my caveat, right? So if you're playing a silver tournament, maybe consider this card against lefties in left field if you have the room to do so.
All right. So a former Blue Jay as well. I remember when he played on the Toronto Blue Jays, and really good player, good speed, good stealing. One of those with speed and stealing kind of above that 100 mark. Next.
I think he was, overall in real life, I think he was a super underrated player. He was quite a ridiculous mercenary, and he helped, I think a lot of teams do pretty well. He never really finally won it. He's also from my local college, which is quite fun. No, he was great. I think a lot of people slept on him for a long time. He had a very fun toolbox that carried on for a lot of years. So.
Very underrated. He always played, there were other stars on the teams that he played for, so he never got the attention from the press. And just always delivered, a guy that you could always count on. And speaking of guys that you could count on and delivered, Mookie, one of the best first names in baseball, one of the two Wilsons that we got today. Again, really good speed, stealing, base running, all at the high end range. And defense, not bad. What do you think about the Mook?
I do want to just first point out Mr. Double Dog in the chat, who has now pulled Hamilton and Cobb. And what did he pull? Mike Adams earlier when we were talking about him?
And Billy Hamilton.
Yeah, so maybe open some packs when we talk about Kenny Lofton in a bit. Maybe that would be a good plan for Mr. Double Talk today. Congrats.
All of those that say streamer luck is a thing, well, maybe we can change that to streamer viewers luck is a thing. Yes.
Maybe.
So, yeah, good luck on getting that. You just need to finish off that perfect day here, Mr. Devil Dog, and pull that Lofton. And, I'm not sure how many packs you've opened, but good job. All right. Mookie.
He's good. Again, this is one of those things where, like, without knowing that Monday was coming, I'd look at this bat and go, oh, it's just not playable, right? And it wouldn't be. And then I'm looking at it now and I'm like, maybe. 87 isn't quite center field level for me, especially going into the new format we're about to head into. So, corner outfield, that bat's just got to be good enough. I'm not quite sure it is. He's got 100 stealing, a little higher than his speed, great base running. I mean, the card will do things you want to do. The bat's just going to have to be worth enough for you to want to play him. So that's kind of... I think this is a card kind of to watch if it's really going to come down to where power sort of ends up as well. If he had a bit more eye, I think I'd be very confident in saying, like, this is a card you should play, right? But I just a little unsure at the moment, so...
Okay, and next, of course, we have our Tiger in there, and a player that I remember more as a Montreal Expo. Of course, when you had him and Tim Raines on the team, man, talk about speed between those two guys. And I don't think we had a Ron Leflore last year. I remember talking with EVC saying, oh, I really hope we get a Ron Leflore, really hope we get a Ron Leflore. And now we have two, I believe, in the game. I think we have an Iron and now this card here. Look at that. Yeah, look at that speed. Look at that BABIP. Is it playable? And if so, where and what type of environment?
It's really interesting. So one of the things I mentioned at the start of the stream, right, is they not only announced the BABIP would be coming back kind of to how baseball is played. They talked a bit about changing home run and avoid K, but again, they haven't told us what direction. I'm going to assume home runs are going down, but people are very torn on what's happening with avoid Ks, and it's one of those cards where, like, if avoid K matters a little less, then okay, this card is excellent versus left-handed pitching, and if it matters a little more, then maybe he's still not quite there. He's got to be left field, right? And he's got to be only versus lefties. I don't probably think this is ever good just versus righties. So then the question kind of is, right? Like, is the K going to hamper the BABIP enough? Because it's such a crazy contact bat. I mean, I think if, like, my thought on Mookie is Mookie's maybe good enough, then this card has to be good enough for left. And then the question really is the defense. I think a lot of people would think it's crazy, but maybe 74 range is just too low now post the update. And we don't know. Defense, I think the bats are a little easier to judge because we have league play to look at. We have previous years kind of to look at. The problem with defense is with pitcher BABIP being thrown in the mix, it's very unclear what some of the new interactions might end up being. And I think in previous years, 74 would probably be a little bit too low for me to play this, but I don't know. I think it's good. Again, another card you could certainly try VL in silver in left field come Monday. So.
And our last silver is a card that always a popular player when they release an Ozzie Smith card, more specifically for his defense. Always want that great meta defense. Really good defense, no doubt about it here. Decent speed. It's not the Ozzie that we would typically see, although a couple years ago, I think the bronze 69 Ozzie was the meta for almost the entire year in bronze tournaments. What do you think about this year's silver Ozzie Smith?
If he's going to play, it's probably only versus righties. I mean, he's got 14 more BABIP there. He's got, 9 more Void K and then another 6 I. So I think that offsets the gap by quite a lot. The problem is this is a card I'm looking at and I'm probably not stealing bases with. I'm very, very picky about when you should actually be stealing because I think a lot of the margins are nowhere near what a lot of people think they are. And I probably wouldn't steal with this. So if it doesn't steal and I'm looking at that bat and 93 range, I think it probably just doesn't get the job done. I mean, I'm not super against it, but I think I'd rather play some of the cards that have a bit better defense and a bit worse bat. I think you'd get a lot more out of it that way. So.
Okay, and we all know kidneys that we're going to get a much better Ozzie at some point in the game, probably a high diamond, a perfect one. Well, now we get on to the gold cards and higher. And, we didn't get a Tim Raines. We didn't get a Ricky Henderson. We did not get a Jacob Ellsbury, guys that I had predicted on EVC's Guess the Set contest. But we did get a lot of really high-end name players. And when we move into gold, we've got from the Kansas City Royals, Willie Wilson. Again, really good speed, stealing, base running, defense, hitting versus left. I guess that's his strong point.
I will say, because chat raises a good point that I think we both forgot about, because I brought it up and then I forgot that I brought it up, and I think you might have forgot too. The gold choice packs, if you're a PT Plus member and you haven't picked a card yet, probably just wait like a week.
You want to go to that on your, do you have it? Have you opened yours yet?
I have not opened mine. You said you would click it if you wanted to. Remember, if you open it, you have to either pick or you can't do another choice pack.
Okay. Well, analyze Willie Wilson, and while you're doing that, I'll get that choice pack set up.
Yeah. So Willie's very interesting. I think Willie to me is even more interesting if there wasn't the other gold Willie card. We don't currently, I think, have a low gold format, and I'm looking at this, and I don't think the Bat VR is good at all. And then, is the BABIP worth having 25 I, 11 power? Yeah, he's going to steal. He's going to play extraordinarily good left field defense. I don't know. In general, I is such a free rating right now. What I mean by that is it doesn't really seem to impact the overall on a card a lot. And so if it doesn't impact the overall on the card a lot, I'd rather have a card with a lot of I, because it's going to, in general, probably be a better card. So I'm looking at this and I'm kind of don't think it's going to be good. It's a lot similar to kind of that Rennie Stinnett card that a lot of people played that I don't know why anybody played. But this one is Rennie Stinnett and it steals, and I still don't quite think I would play it. But maybe I'd give it a little more consideration if McGee wasn't here. I quite like McGee. Well, I don't know if I like McGee. McGee is super interesting. We're also looking at, a lot of other cards that kind of got pushed down Like Stan Musial is probably going to be a ton better after this update on Monday. So I don't think I would play Willie Wilson at this time. Maybe I'm
okay. All right. So speaking of the choice pack, so once you get a choice pack, if you have more than one, you get this little pull down menu, and the one for May. Maybe you don't see it because maybe you didn't go to the pull down menu. I don't know why some of you are reporting you haven't received yours yet. Hopefully you bought Perfect Team Plus before it was released, because it is not retroactive. And once you pull on that May one and open it up, here are the 12 cards that you will have to choose from. Let's put that on full screen. And so, Kidneys, your recommendation is that wait until after Monday, maybe wait a few more days after that, just to see how the new environment plays out before you choose one?
Yeah, I'd wait. I mean, if you really don't want to wait, kind of the other thing is, I don't think any of these cards are game changers right this very second. So I don't really see a reason to not wait. If you want like my short list of cards I'm interested in, probably for me, the most likely one that's good is Dode Paskert. Dode Paskert is probably in competition for gold center field after Monday. I think you could even argue maybe now, but it's not like this huge clear edge over everyone else. The other ones I like are, I'm a big fan of the Joe Sewell. I think at third base, there's a chance that card is very, very good. Super well-rounded bat, great eye, good defense. Not the best defense, but good defense. Some of the other lesser ones, Ed Morgan's okay, Sox Siebold is okay. If you like catcher ability, Bill Dickey has the most in the entire game now at 108. So maybe you want Bill Dickey. A lot of people were telling me they were taking Teddy Higura and Eddie Collins. Higura, I don't have being good right now. Like, he's just below the level of card I would play. And then he probably does not get better with the update, would be my guess. And if that's true, then I wouldn't take him. And Eddie Collins is kind of a learning lesson, I think, for people that maybe aren't super veterans. If that contact bat is really good, that glove cannot be good enough, right? And you can't have both of these things be true, because if BABIP's important, defense takes away from BABIP, right? And vice versa. And so I don't think it's a DH level hitter. I hope it's not, or we're like back to Perfect Team 21, Perfect Team 20 level bats. But yeah, Ed Morgan's okay as well. He's kind of like just a middling first baseman. He's well-rounded. He'll get a lot better after the update. Those would kind of be the cards I'd look at. If the fix the BABIP is specifically pitcher BABIP and not like the BABIP interaction, and I think it's probably going to be more of like a line than it is going to be pitcher BABIP specifically. Maybe Bundy is good, but I'm not super convinced either. So if I were taking a card, I would probably take Dode. Obviously, you can still buy these cards in the card shop, and in probably about a month's time, they'll be in tournament packs anyway. You'll just be able to win them as well. So they're not super expensive either. I've already kind of picked up all the ones I thought were maybe interesting. But yeah.
So yeah, about 7,600 for the Dode, and I noticed a couple people in chat mentioned that that was the card that they had chosen. So yeah, if you want to wait a little bit till after Monday, then that might be an alternative to decide what cards you want. All right, so let's get back to where we were before. Yeah, thanks, chat, for bringing that up. We did mean to talk about the choice pack and options there, so thanks for bringing that up to our attention. Okay, Willie Wilson was the last one we talked about. Willie Tavares, or Tavares.
Yeah, Willie Tavares. I mean, he's a very similar card to the Willie Wilson. The difference is he only plays center field, but has much better defense. Also a bit worse. Again, I'm probably not stealing with this card, right? At 88, 87. I don't think it's enough. So are you playing this in center field? Probably only VL. I mean, even just looking at the Dode, right? The Dode is going to be a ton better bat, and it's 6 points worth range. So you'd have to say that the bat on this card is worth less than 6 points of range on Dode, and I don't really see it. So I don't think this one's going to play. I didn't think it played in low gold either, because there's some other cards I like there too. So
Now, when you say kidneys that you're not going to steal with these cards, are you adjusting your sliders though at all when you get a guy that has 88 and 87, or are you using it just keep your global sliders at where they're at and then individual sliders right in the middle? Like, you're not doing any adjusting?
So people all the time talk to me about sliders, and I think sliders are a lot less important than people think they are. I think in general, a lot of sliders are just best if you don't touch them. Stolen bases should always be turned off. There is literally no exception. And then if you have a player who you think can steal at like a 75% plus clip, and I go even a little higher than that, then you turn him on override and you turn on his stealing slider, right? So there is no reason to let your whole team maybe steal a base every now and then when they're going to get thrown out like 75% of the time. It's just not worth it, ever. They're throwing away runs. So,
all right. And the last gold card that was presented today, Willie McGee. Remember this guy from St. Louis? And what do you think?
This is probably probably the weirdest card I've ever had to evaluate on a stream.
We were talking about this before stream, and yeah, when this card popped up.
Chat, what do you want me to say about this? He has, I think, the highest BABIP number on any card since Perfect Team 20. But he has 44 less avoid K in that direction. And then he has a 33-point power split. But he also plays excellent corner outfield defense. I would call it interesting, Ezra Denny, because I don't really know what else to say about it. I mean, there's like probably some bizarre world in where his batting average might be higher VR than VL, but like, I've never seen a 120 BABIP on a card before. So I don't know what it's going to do. I've literally no idea what this is going to do. Obviously, I would think VL is a bit better because of 20 points of BABIP and 33 points of power. He might just be a good card both ways. I might agree with Izadafo. I mean, the defense is excellent. He's borderline if I would steal with him. It's probably close. Man, if this... Yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited to get some data. I'll probably just play him myself to make sure I have plenty of data on him. Because I don't know. It is such a fantastically fun card that could be the best gold card in the game, or it could be terrible, and I cannot tell you.
And yeah, we will find out soon. I don't know how much it's going on the card shop right now. I'm sure not many have been pulled, but this is one that could skyrocket in value or plummet. We will find out very soon.
I'll certainly pay some money just to have it so I can get it in my data. And I think a lot of people are going to be very interested to see what this does. It's crazy. Like I said, I've never seen 120 BABIP on a card before. So we'll just have to wait, and hopefully this time next week I have some more info on what that looks like after the Monday change and everything as well. So, big
shout out to my new manager, GT Sundown, for drafting me first overall in the EMLB draft. So thank you, Sundown, for having faith in my created player. Hope he's able to perform in the near future. So yeah, this card again, interesting. I think we mentioned before stream the highest BABIP versus left right now in the game was it Hubie Brooks? I think that you mentioned was the highest one.
Yeah, the highest BABIP in the game at the moment, either VR or VL, is 108, and it's a tie between Manny Ramirez and Hubie Brooks. And so, like I said, this is a mile different. Normally, when you get On the very edges of card ratings, they do very different things than you would expect. And this card could either be very similar to Manny and Hubie, or it could be a mile better, right? That'll probably define how the card ends up playing.
As Duke is mentioning here, the Hubie hits really well, but defense is really horrible. So maybe we get an improvement with the defense with the Willie McGee. And Ezra, no, it's not butt kissing. I'm waiting for GT Sundown to fly me out to Montreal to check out the stadium and check out the nightlife in Montreal. I hear it's pretty good in that Canadian city. So no, it's just a young rookie trying to make his mark in the EMLB. Okay, diamond time. Jason Kendall, of course, with the change coming in, we talked earlier about, is that going to impact catchers like Chris Hoyles? Is he still going to be one of the go-to catchers? Where does Jason Kendall fit in your opinion, as of Monday?
Off my eyeballs, roughly. I mean, I think this is absolutely the diamond versus left catcher. If you're not a catcher ability snob and you're willing to sacrifice some of it for some bat, this card is really good VL. I mean, everybody can see that. The VR, though, is like, I don't know, I feel like I'm looking at Silver Ted Simmons again. And so obviously you can only play this card versus lefties. And in scenarios like catcher, right, you still have to play a lot of the games versus the weak side because they get tired so much. So in a format that favors left-handed like pitching, absolutely you need this card. If it favors right-handed pitching, maybe I play a VL catcher that's a bit more both ways. I don't know. It's certainly extraordinary VL and then just not even close VR.
All right.
I think it's really good though. Like in general, strong platoon cards are probably a bit underrated by the community. So I do think this is a very powerful card when used correctly, of course.
And my eyes just like, whoa, Ty Cobb. Yeah, we've got a better Ty Cobb in the game. Ty Cobb, year after year after year, when we get his perfect version, always one of the meta cards, one you're trying to chase. I'm still trying to chase him in Perfect Team 23. Still really expensive out there. I can't pull him in packs. But then I look at the defense here, and I look at the bat, I look at the speed and all that kind of stuff, and then I look at the defense. So I'm thinking DH at best, 97 Ty Cobb. Give us your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it has to DH, right? So then the question is it good enough to DH? I don't know. Like, I think it's really going to depend. I think certainly if there was a high diamond or open dead ball, this is probably top of your list to play it. So when the year is 1919 or earlier, this card would be probably uncontested as the best card. I don't know. Really, my comparison for this has to be against what right now I consider the best diamond designated hitter. And that's Manny Ramirez, right? And so Manny Ramirez is like 70 points of power for a bunch of like 35, 40 points of avoid K. And in general, I would much rather have that trade. Now, it comes with the caveat that Ty Cobb is going to steal a ton of bases. 109, 111 might be the best base stealing profile we have on any card right now, if I remember correctly. It's certainly at the top 5 of the list, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't think this is a DH in more modern formats. I think in dead ball, maybe you play this. The other issue though with that specifically is in dead ball, it's a lot harder to steal bases, right? And I think the Yelich is also a great comparison where it's a pretty comparable card versus righties, and then a lot more power. The difference, obviously, this card looks quite a bit more well-rounded than the Yelich, but I don't know. I could very well be wrong after Monday. Maybe if power comes down a lot more than some of the people looking at the numbers are expecting, or something similar, maybe. But it would have to be a pretty big gap for me to want to DH this card in Open Diamond, I think. So
Okay, and I did see a question in the chat from Save510. Once a card comes out, it will come out next year at launch and every year after? Not necessarily.
No. So every year, new perfect team. It's just a complete wipe, right? You're starting from scratch. If you've played previous years, you get a few more shiny packs, and that's about it. So most sports games like this work. It lets us get new versions of the same thing, which is cool because every year they kind of tweak how the ratings work and rebalance things, and that lets us get a Ty Cobb this year that doesn't look like a Ty Cobb any other year, and it's not just 100 versions of Ty Cobb at this point, right? So no, it'll be a new start again. I mean, we're only about a month into the cycle right now, so it's still a very good time to get started.
All right, one more diamond card, and this is the card that Mr. Devil Dog, he's been pretty quiet in chat. He's either still opening packs or hasn't received anything else. But Mr. Devil Dog was one of the users that pulled this Billy Hamilton. And look at that speed, look at that stealing. But here's a case too where stealing is higher than speed. So I'm assuming this would be a card you would crank up his stealing attempts.
Right, so this is one of those edge case scenarios I mentioned earlier, right? Where he's the same stealing as Cobb. And if these numbers were a bit lower, I would prefer Hamilton because the speed to stealing gap is a bit higher in kind of the sweet zone I like. But I actually think Cobb is probably going to be a bit better because he's going to be successful almost no matter what. And you just want him to go more. You know what I mean? At this point, he's so good, you just want him to run. But they're both excellent, right? Like top tier base stealers. Like I said, probably both in those top 5 of the whole game right now. And the problem with Beham is the bat is definitely a downgrade from Cobb, right? We're losing a kind of marginal amount of power, but we're losing a lot of BABIP and some IVL. We're gaining a little VR, and then we look at the defense. And once again, I'm kind of normally when range is the biggest stat, right? It's good. You just go from 80 to 60 to 40, and I'm a little nervous. And it does play left field. I wouldn't want it really in the either two outfields, which is nice because I think a lot of the time Billy Hamilton, we've gotten him as a center fielder, if I remember correctly. So it's good he says left field. I'm still kind of not 100% sold. Maybe it's a little bit better because 80 range is good right now compared to a lot of the diamond outfielders that I kind of like don't have incredible defense, but like, if we're comparing this to a James Wood, for example, right, you're still always going to take James Wood, even probably after Mondays. So I'm not as high on it as I'd like to be. And also going back, like, again, we mentioned Cobb's bat is a lot better in dead ball, right? So would I play this in dead ball? Again, probably not. Error rating is really important in dead ball. 80 range might even be too low in dead ball post Monday. So there's a lot of things to look at, right?
All right, and our only perfect card, kind of caught off guard. I thought there might be a couple at least perfect cards, but we did get one, and that is Kenny Lofton, legend with Cleveland. Again, splitty, as a lot of cards are, better against the left-handers. Speed, stealing, again, the stealing is higher than the speed. Good range, good error, good arm. What say you about Kenny Lofton?
So even with the BABIP being 10 points higher VL, I actually think this card is a lot better VR because you're gaining 22 power and like 14 avoid K and some I. So I think I'm looking at this card and I'm going, does this play in center field versus right-handed pitching in league? It's so close for me. And the reason it's close is because it's not Monday. And I think my gut feeling is this is better than Bellinger, but I could totally see it go either way, right? Who you want. And the nice part about Bellinger is then he just slides into right field and it's not a big deal either. But I do think this card is very, very strong. I think if you're making a run at Perfect League this week and hoping to play in it next week, this is probably something you want to seriously consider. So.
Okay. And where does, with these new outfielders coming out and with this, Kenny Lofton, where does that place now in your rankings the Mookie Bet card? That was, one of the early front runners for meta. Has that slipped back, or is Mookie Betts still extremely playable? Or have people passed him?
Mookie does what I kind of said Mookie would do. And that means that Mookie is basically a platoon bat at this point for endgame teams, right? So for your team's trying to make perfect, or like you're playing in an open tournament, right? You're probably only playing this card versus left-handed pitching. And so if we're looking at Lofton and he only plays versus right-handed pitching, this card's still really good, right? I think this card, I see so many people complaining about this card, and I don't really agree with them at all. I think it's a top tier card. I'm even still playing it both ways in center, and I don't know. I think a lot of people are undervaluing this one a little bit right now, and certainly I don't have it really anywhere near close to being counterfeited against left-handed pitching. So
okay, and is Adolfo again? With his comment there. Dead on there, Woods, Lofton, Bellinger, Stearns. There's some options now in the outfield, but you probably still want to go with those ones there.
Yeah, that would be if I had to right now put together like my VR outfield. Yeah, it's Woods, Lofton, Bellinger. I might not do Stearns as DH, but the really nice part about having a DH that can actually play the field is it makes you a lot more flexible and a lot safer on depth. So there's certainly a very, very reasonable argument to DH Stearns there too.
And Chess is mentioning that I'm assuming this is the Betts card is still $88K in the card shop. So
yep.
Again, it's still usable card, but again, there may be other better meta cards out there. And Isidolfo also mentioned Wood, Volpe, Walker are pretty much suffocating cards for other diamonds right now. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, some of the Diamond Future Legends are very silly compared to every other Diamond card. And I would agree that Wood, Walker, and Volpe for, Diamond hitters are just a literal mile above all the other competition. And I think even some people are sleeping on Walker. I know I'm talking about a 6-figure Diamond card, but I think he's a lot better versus left-handed pitching than people realize. And yeah, it's certainly looking at, what I would go play in League, right? I think the only way you want to consider maybe not playing Betts is we'd have to get a better center fielder, and then you also have the limited edition Dwight Evans, and that's a very small number of people that are going to be able to do all of those things. So Betts is great. Most people should still be playing him, probably both directions at this point. So.
Okay, well, that takes us then overall, fun set. As you say, very interesting set with a lot of cards, seeing how they play out. Of course, with that change coming on Monday, always adds a little bit of uncertainty to no matter what kind of set they would have released today. And now we get to our cards of the set. The card that you find you're most curious about, or the best card, however you want to approach it. What do you think? What is the kidney card of the set?
Oh, it's absolutely Evereth Cabrera. I said it earlier. This card is so good as an iron. Probably almost all my cap rosters, anything I play that's like an iron tournament, maybe even into bronze tournaments, I'm considering this card. I just think he's phenomenal. So I'm very excited to play this one. So.
And not often that you get an iron card that would be considered the card of the set. And for myself, just based on real player, teams he played for, Montreal Expo, Ron Leflore, my card of the set. No other specific reason, nothing to do with the ratings there. So there you guys have it. You have go ahead.
No, just one last note. I will say this set is so well timed with the update because a lot of these cards, if this happened 2 weeks ago, it would be like none of these bats are like anywhere near interesting. And it's really good because so many of these cards, none of us really know. You can guess, but like really how they're going to do come Monday. And I think that's really cool. So I'm very excited to see how these cards play out over the next week and a half or two. So.
And Izadafo makes a great point too, with all the splittiness in our cards that we're seeing this year. You want to platoon so many of them, and that means less pitchers on your team, more hitters on your team.
I have a hot take that if Izadafo wants, he can DM me. And I think there is a very good way around that right now.
Okay.
So we could talk about that if he wants.
Okay, well, it is time to bring on the Generation Showdown. All the great cards that were introduced today. Thank you again to Dish. Thank you to OOTP. Thank you to Mr. Spore for putting that set together. All about the speed. The Generation Showdown was 3-0. And then this Zoomer, talking about speed, just came out of nowhere and won the last 2 weeks. We are on a race to 10. The overall points that we get don't really matter. It's who wins each week. But we've changed up the format just slightly. We're going to make it more baseball-like. So instead of 10 packs, we are going to open up 9 packs each. And just like in a baseball game, we're going to go back and forth, 1 pack at a time, and play it out and see who ends up with the highest score at the end. Might take a little longer, but more in tune with how baseball goes. So if either of us pulls a perfect card or LE card, not only will we be jumping in excitement, we will get 7 points. Diamond cards are 5. Cards from today, 4 points. Gold cards, 2 points. And our mystery card for today, we have to find that out, what number that will be, or if either of us get an advantage. So here we go. You got a number in mind here, Kidneys?
I always have a number in mind on this scale. Let's see if we get it. Oh, we're close. Come on. No, it's too far. Oh, we're going again.
Oh.
Oh. All right.
Look how close that is. I want the photo finish department in.
Crazy. That's insane.
So not only do you have home field advantage, but you win in case of a tie. Wow. Geez. Okay. So you're still on home. This is your last game at home before we head back to Montreal and have a 3-game set there. So let me bring up my OOTP. Here we go. And let's just quickly download that. So we're on the freshest file. So once again, I will open 1 pack, and then we'll go to Kidney's screen, and back to mine, and he might even save a pack. If he's leading in the bottom of the 9th, he doesn't need to open that last pack because total points don't matter in the end game.
I did not know this was ready. Snailman has been working on a calculator to see what are the odds we should get a certain number of points. He is saying on average right now we will get like 4.273 points from our 9 packs. So that's the number we're shooting for. That's awesome. We've
been doing really good then because we've hit much higher than that.
Well, we cut a pack and there's a few less cards this set than some of the other ones. So it isn't as simple as it would be.
Okay.
You took out the ball. Yeah, no build a lineup. Oh, he's got to rerun it. All right, you can get started. He'll come back with a fun number.
All right. So yes, cards from today. No mystery cards. So we're just going based on the rating and today's cards. All right, pack. Top of the first inning. We've got 0.
Ooh.
Okay. There's a little stretch there. Getting all hyped up.
It's the first inning.
Yeah, I know. Here we go. We're on your screen now.
Oh, we're alternating now. Yes.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Bottom of the first. Pitch clock violation.
Oh, nothing here. There is an iron card, by the way, that would count for some points today. So that's something to note as well.
Yeah, Chris Martin. Okay, let's head on back to my screen here. Top of the second. 0-0. We go, and this is like a real baseball game. There's not always a lot of scoring early on.
No,
let's go to bottom of 2.
Oh, a new card and 2 golds. Oh, big inning. You might have to
Wow.
pull the starting pitcher after that one.
Warm up the bullpen, guys. Warm up the bullpen. So what do we have there? We've got Billy Hamilton and 2 golds. I don't have my point value screen up here. Let me go to that.
I don't have it either. I normally put it somewhere. And
Okay, so 2 golds, that's 4 points, and a card from today is 4 points. So in the bottom of the second inning, you're going to blow away Snail Man's projection. You got 8 points, 8 runs in the bottom of the second.
Jeez, projections.
Okay, all I need now is a perfect or an LE. There's no blowout yet. I don't want to hear the word blowout, guys.
I mean, 2 more points and you can start throwing position players. So, it's close.
Okay. Top of the third. Who's starting for you today? You got like Pedro on the mound? Like, geez, I'm not getting anything.
All right. Let's see again.
Bottom of the third.
Oh, nothing here.
Nothing. Okay. My pitcher's
I'll make it better. I'm throwing this Iron Strasburg against you. You just can't hit him. You can't hit him.
All right, Grover. Time to show your face.
Oh, that's a big call.
Hey,
Ooh,
we did get a gold. So that is 2 points for a Blue Jay. Okay. So we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. It is 8-2 for the Zoomer.
Let's see it. Oh!
You countered my Blue Jay there, buddy.
Woo! I one-upped your Blue Jay there.
That's 5. 5.
That's
now we're getting blowout territory.
Yeah, now you could start pitching position players if you wanted to after an inning.
All right, in comes Oscar Charleston in relief. Like Dishnet did against Rich when they had their contest.
Yeah, and maybe Dahigo.
Okay, so we head to the top of the 5th inning, 13-2. What do we got? Any new players? No. And the worst thing is you win in case of a tie.
I do. You have to one-up me as well.
We go to bottom of 5.
Nothing here.
Okay.
Really cold.
We are in an ad break, Kenny. I didn't see that coming.
Oh,
so
that's right.
Let's hold off on any more until we come back from the ad. I know subscribers and people with ad block can still see this, but we will be back in 2 minutes' time and head to the top of the 6th inning. My guys need a timeout. Perfect timing. All right. We'll be back shortly. Whew, boy, did I have to give my team a talking to after those first 5 innings. We laid it out on the line. They got the Vince Lombardi talk, and they're back on, ready to hit a few home runs here. Let's see if power and eye still play out in this series here. So we are at the top of the 6th inning. It is 13-2. In all fairness, Kidneys had 1 lucky pack. Come on. A card from today and 2 gold. Lucky. All right. I'm up. We've got the top of the 6th inning. Kenny Lofton, which would give me 11 points. It's hard to believe. I need Kenny Lofton to tie.
That's a lot.
All right. Top of the 6th inning.
We're still just warming up the Kenny here.
Bottom of the 6th
Bottom
inning.
of the 6th. Nothing here either.
Nothing there. Okay. We go to top of 7. All right.
Ooh.
All right.
If
now,
it's from today, it's close.
Hi, Cobb. Who else is a diamond from
Billy
today?
Hamilton, Jason Kendall.
Okay. Mr. Devil Dog, send me some of that Billy Hamilton vibe. Here we go. Watch it be a live Spencer Strider. Oh. Good card.
I love that card. I think I told you to buy that card a while ago. It's such a
You did.
good card in so many things.
So can I have a few extra points because of it? No,
No,
no.
no, it's not.
Notice it's a duplicate. It's a duplicate. So yes, I did take your recommendation and buy that card. All right. So diamond is what? That's a five run inning.
Yep.
Okay. So we are one. Just wait. Don't open yours yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the top of the 7th, or are we in the top of the 8th?
I don't remember.
I think it's top of the 7th, I believe. Yeah, top of the 7th. Okay. So 5 runs there.
Well, let's get me some more.
Bottom of the 7th.
Ooh, wrong, Kenny Lofton. Do I get bonus points for that?
We deduct points. Did I fail to mention that?
You said Kenny Lofton was 11 points. I pulled Kenny Lofton. I don't know what you're talking about.
But it's the anti-Kenny Lofton, so you lose 11 points.
Anti-Kenny Lofton.
All right. So we go to the top of the 8th inning. It is 13-7. We've blown away Snailman projections here.
Yep.
2 innings to go. Top of the 8th. My guys are just heating up. What do we got? Oh, gold. This could make things really close. Okay, let's give me 1 gold card from today.
If it is, you take the lead by 1.
Which is Mookie Wilson. He was a gold from today, right?
No, he's a silver. You want? How about that? Was it Willie? One of the Willies?
McGee.
Yeah, McGee.
All right.
Yeah.
Kidneys called it. Willie McGee.
Oh,
close.
The Cronenworth.
All right, but that's another 2 points. So we head to the bottom of the 8th. It is 13-9.
Let's hit it. Oh! Woo! That's not bad.
See, Kidneys, you throw out the line, you reel me in, you let me get a few points, and then boom. Just like last week, you have a big 8th inning and you get a diamond card. So that makes it 18-9 as we head to the top of the 9th. Who's your closer? Who you bringing in? You got a mop-up guy in now?
No, we're going to bring in this Carmen Hill card. I think... Oh, no, this isn't the card I'm thinking about. We're still going to bring in the Carmen Hill card. I'll give you
Okay. All right. So I need 12 points. So how about a perfect and a gold? Not asking for that.
Don't you need like Lofton and something?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need Lofton and something. Here, let's see it.
I'll tell you what, if I just get Lofton, I'll give you the win. I don't mind. Here we go.
If you get Lofton on this pack, you can win the game. That's fine. I'll quit.
Clip this, guys. Clip it. All right. Notice he didn't say which Lofton. Too late. No take backsies. No take backsies. Here we go. Come on, Iron Kenny Lofton.
No Kenny.
No. Who do we have though? We get a 2-point Shane Bieber. So that makes the final score the Zoomer 18, Gen Xer 9. And you can look through the comments and see if Snailman posted projections there, but I think we both exceeded
it was 3.8 points, I assume, per player for the packs, given the current system. So we both did really well. I just did a little bit better than you did.
A little bit better. Well,
I'm heating up. I feel like I'm going against some Oakland A's pitching right now. You know, anything you do, it doesn't really count. They should take it out of the stat book.
And all the home teams are doing really well. So it's 3-3. 3-3 after I had a 3-0 lead. Well, at least I'm back in Montreal next week. So there is our Generation Showdown today. Kidneys smoked me. Just destroyed me 18-11. Next week is the tiebreaker as we race to 10. Well, Kidneys, it is that time on the clock for you to give us your subtle opinion about the game.
Well,
and do you need to show anything?
Very well. I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah, give me my game screen up. Let's bring that up.
All right. So just let me know when you're ready to go, and I will start the clock. Kidneys rant starting soon.
You know what? You know what? I'll just take the timer. I don't think I'm gonna use examples here. We'll take the timer.
Okay.
Kidneys is subtle like a sledgehammer to the temple. So that's pretty good. That's some great poetry right there. All right. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right. I've kind of talked about this a little bit in the past, but I'm going to dive into it a little bit more because earlier in the stream we talked about beginner advice. If you're a new player, what to buy, what not to buy, things like that, right? The biggest mistake you can make as a new player is to keep buying cards that aren't going to make the difference or that are just already like not a really good card. Like if your goal is to win, you know, that you can have a lot of goals in this game, but when you're listening to me, it's probably because you're trying to win a few games. Yeah, I mean, stop. Like people all the time will go and they'll be like, hey, I have, 25K or whatever, and who's the best shortstop I can get? Well, really, the answer is you probably should just spend 1K, you get like a Bob Ferguson, and that's it, right? Because you could buy a shortstop for 25K, you could go get like a John Valentin, and the odds are he's not the difference. Like you're not going to win Diamond League with John Valentin, right? So most of the time, I know not everybody plays the game this way, right? If your goal is to play for a long time and eventually end up with a really good league team, use your money to make more money, right? So live spec, mission spec, play big tournaments and win them, right? Winning is key. Winning's good. You'll make money if you win. And if not, just stop like throwing all these little incremental darts and throwing away 10% of your money on auction house tax and doing all sorts of little things that really aren't going to ever really move the needle in your favor, right? You need it to actually be impactful. And that's kind of, a lot of times people don't understand why I evaluate cards a certain way. And it's because if the card isn't the best card, it's just not a good card competitively. It's not close. Like, why would I spend 200K on Chase Utley if I could buy Jackie Robinson for 250?
All right. So, and I completely agree with a lot. I mean, often in your Discord, in the OOTP Discord, you see people, who should I buy? Who should I buy? Who should I buy? How can I get better? How can I get better? And maybe we'll address that a little bit more next week in our beginner section because it's much more complicated than just here's who you should buy. And especially after the new release, the new update coming out on Monday.
Yep.
So there you have it. The Kidneys rant. And, if you guys have any topics you want Kidneys to rant on, family-friendly topics that you want Kidneys to rant on, send him a message in his Discord. Send me a message. And, yeah, he absolutely is open to going on community-based topics. Well, Kidneys...
Even as well, like, if you just have questions about the game or there's, something you don't understand or you're saying, hey, I know I'm, winning, but I feel like I could be doing better, send me a message. I love talking to people about this game. Hop in my Discord. All sorts of people help you there who are just as good, if not most of them better than I am at this point, right? And just ask questions. People love answering. The community's great with that, so...
Kidneys is one of the most approachable people I know in the game. And like I said, he drives the bus a lot of the times, sometimes erratically, but he drives the bus. He steers us along. He gives us all this advice. Our teams are better, perform better because of Kidneys' opinion. So yes, reach out to him on his Discord. Let me post that one more time just in case you're not in there. And, yeah, this has been the Hawk Report episode number 7. Of course, we do have our giveaway to do. So if you want a chance to win 10 packs or 5 packs, standard packs, enter now, ! Enter, ! Ticket. And we'll give you about 2 minutes before we close that off. And then we're going to raid into Dr. Dynastic and hear his wonderful broadcasting voice. Thank you guys for tuning in. As I always mention, thank you for your support. Thank you for the bits today, the follows today, the subscribers today. More about that on Monday as I'll shout you out a little more specially. And Again, my Babe in the Matrix series, we started on a Tuesday. Next episode with Baltimore. He's going back home. He's going to play with the Baltimore Orioles in 2023 on Tuesday. Of course, as I always mention, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, donate to the food bank, help someone out as much as you can, mow their lawn, wash their windows. I don't know. You don't have to do their laundry, but be kind. It does rub off as you can, as you're able to. It is a great day for baseball. It really is. Even virtual OOTP baseball. Good luck on your packs. Hope you pull something good, especially that Grover Cleveland. There's still about 10 left in the game. All right, we'll give you one more minute. Any closing comments, Kidneys, before we let you go?
Not really. As always, thank you for having me on and letting me do this. It's great fun. I love going over, cards, and I do it because somebody once did it for me, right? They helped me learn how to play the game, and to me, I get more fun out of the game when I play it and I'm winning and that kind of stuff. And I know a lot of people share that sentiment. So thanks everybody, as always, for tuning in. You guys are incredible. You're why we do what we do, because we love working with you guys. I know it's the same for Laptop Hound, and it's great. Again, I'll have it on YouTube sometime, hopefully in the next 2 hours, my interview with Chimera. If you're a data person at all, or just somebody who wants to learn more about Perfect Team, please go watch. I think it was an incredible show last night. I may be doing a show on Warbot again tomorrow, possibly, so tune into that as well. I'll post in my Discord if that becomes a thing as well. So.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you again, Kidneys. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend, and we'll keep in touch. And great stuff as always.
See ya.
Once again, we'll just wait confirmation, and just like that, we have it. You guys are quick today, as the theme of the day, speed. You were very speedy with your usernames. Well, guys, that is it for me. Laptop Hound signing out of the studios. Don't go anywhere. Don't click anything. I'm going to take you directly to Dr. Dynastic, where you can continue to get your drops. This has been the Hawk Report number 7. Stay tuned tomorrow to EVC, as he will reveal the winner or winners for his Guess the Set contest. Check that out. I believe it's around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, maybe a little earlier for EVC. Yeah, I'm curious how I did. I think I might have got a couple in the Guess the Set contest. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next episode on Monday.